Is the Necromancer bad in World 0? With the recent release of the Necromancer, there has been uproar that the class is bad. In my most recent video, I compared the Necromancer to the Mage of Shadows and the Demon class. Based off my testing, the Necromancer was slightly better than the Demon, but significantly worse than the Mage of Shadows. Recently, the Necromancer has been buffed. The R ability, Spirit Burst, now charges faster. The F, Spirit Cavern, now inflicts the Cursed effect, which deals 3% of enemy HP per second, and the ultimate now deals damage. But are these buffs enough to place the class at the top? Let's recompare the Necromancer with the Mage of Shadows and its other summoning friend, the Summoner. For the comparisons, I'm running through 3 Nightmare dungeons: Konoh Gardens on normal, Labyrinth on challenge mode, and Crescent Cove on challenge mode. For the gear, I'm using perfect 0 armor and 4 weapons, an attack up 8 scythe with boss of boss and mob boss, as well as an attack up 8 staff with boss of boss and mob boss, as well as a perfect witch cat with mob boss and a perfect white fox deer with boss of boss. For the first test of the night, we're heading to Konoh Garden on Nightmare mode. We are comparing the dungeon times as well as the boss fight times. Mage of Shadows on the left, Necromancer in the middle, and the Summoner Underdog on the right. Timers at the bottom of your screens to show the boss timers. And here we go. Which class will come out on top? We have the Mage of Shadows slamming the ultimate and slamming the tree. It looks like the Mage of Shadows finishes first, ahead of the Necromancer with a 2:18 dungeon time and an 11-second boss timer. And our underdog Summoner comes in last place. Next up, we have the Labyrinth on challenge mode. Starting off, each class jumps into the pit of death, and the Necromancer pulling ahead and finishes off the mobs ahead of the Mage of Shadows. Next, we have the Mage of Shadows running through the spikes because I'm an idiot and nearly dying to these scorpions. Can the Necromancer pull ahead to that slip up? Let's see. It looks like it does. The Necromancer coming out on top, clearing the mobs first, and the Summoner in last. Next, we have the first mini boss, each class swapping to their boss of boss weapons and pets to take on this mini boss. Which class is going to finish it off first? It looks like it was the Necromancer, but looking back now, it is currently the Mage of Shadows destroying the Sentry of Cerberus. What is happening here? But these Necromancer not far behind. Is it over for the is it over for the Summoner? Is the Summoner out of the competition? Is there even a chance for the Summoner to come back? This is the moment you've all been waiting for. Can the Summoner finish the boss? The summons are getting absolutely destroyed by this minion of Cerberus. Almost there, a sliver of health left. It's not looking great for the Summoner. And the moment you've been waiting for, the boss fight. Which class will come out on top? We have the boss staffs going for each class and the boss scythe for the Necromancer. Holy cow, the Mage of Shadows is just destroying this boss. The Necromancer not far behind. Remember, the Necromancer also has that time lead due to the spikes at the beginning of the dungeon. But it looks like the Mage of Shadows finishes off the boss first with a 2:03 dungeon time and a 33-second boss time. Would you look at this? The Summoner is pulling ahead of the Necromancer. What is going on? And the Summoner finishes with a 2:51 time. Can the Necromancer finish the boss fight? And there we go. The Necromancer finishes the dungeon second, but the Summoner finishes the boss beforehand. And let's move on. For our last dungeon, we're heading to World 1 Challenge Mode, Crescent Cove. No cuts this time around. You guys can see exactly how I'm playing and if I'm bad at the game or not. So starting off here, the Mage of Shadows clears the first pack ahead of the Necromancer, with the Summoner straggling not too far behind. The Mage of Shadows gets to the boat first and frees the villagers first. The Necromancer struggling on these crabs. Once again, this is a very difficult dungeon to speedrun because the crabs move so dang slow. As you can see, the Necromancer already on the beach after the Summoner blasts to walk the plank. Let's look back to the Mage of Shadows rounding up all the mobs and just using that insane AoE range to destroy all these mobs. The Necromancer, a different approach. Instead of rounding up the mobs, it's going to try and one-shot the mobs in different groups. Not sure that's going to make up the time loss due to the first few packs. The Mage of Shadows is already on the second to last pack. It's still rounding up all the mobs. I think I do the same thing here on the Necromancer, not sure. Yep, and if you look in the far right, the Summoner is not too far behind. Can the Summoner pull back? It managed to kill the boss faster last dungeon, but can it kill these mobs fast enough? It doesn't look like it. As you can see, the Necromancer is still ahead of the Summoner, and the Mage of Shadows is already on the very last boss pack, rounding up all these mobs and cleaving them down with that insane AoE. But the Necromancer is right on the Mage of Shadows' tails. I think it's over for the Summoner. I don't think the Summoner has a chance. If you're even still watching the video, comment up dog in the comments and I'll give you a giveaway award. I will announce it next video. The Mage of Shadows destroys the boss and it finishes the dungeon first with a 157 on the timer. The Necromancer not too far behind. Looks like it's going to finish in the 2-minute mark. Let's see right here. And the Summoner in last, still in the boss fight. Those summons going to work. They died to the crab because of the AoE attacks, and the Summoner straggling along and finishes the dungeon, and it looks like a 225. That wraps up our damage comparisons. Final thoughts. Is the Necromancer bad? Honestly, I don't think so. As you can see from the footage, the times are pretty close to the Mage of Shadows. The World Zero Discord server places the Necromancer in S tier for dungeon clearing. The buffs help the class deal more damage, but my base issue is mobility. The Necromancer's two main abilities, Tombstone Rise and Spirit Cavern, lock it in place. This results in very awkward mobility when trying to fight quickly. For example, the Shadow Blade, a very powerful melee class, can move while using its Shadow Strike ability. The Berserker, another strong melee class, can freely move during two of its melee abilities. The Necromancer just kind of stands there. Despite all this, I think the buffs are great, and no, I don't think the Necromancer is bad. If you paid attention to the video and want to enter the giveaway, I'm giving away a rolling charcoal mount. I'll do larger giveaways later down the line, but as of right now, I'm still starting out. Thank you guys for watching, and please like, and maybe even subscribe. Thank you.